Most fitness professionals are in a constant state of stress about their finances. In today's episode, I'm going to share with you the one thing that I've discovered helps massively reduce financial stress in your personal and business life and allows you to finally feel ahead of your finances so that you can just focus on running and growing your business. I'm Matt Robinson. Welcome back to the Profit Podcast, and let's dive into today's episode. As someone that owns a business, is starting a business, or is growing a business, finance is always going to be something that is in your mind. It's there. It never seems to be off the table in terms of something that you're thinking about in one way or another. And what I found over the years in running my own business and in helping others start, build, and grow their businesses is that we often tie our emotional state to the state of our business finances. And that becomes a problem pretty quickly, because one of the things that you learn very quickly in business is that the financial side of things ebbs and flows. There are periods where things are going great, and then there are times where there's a little bit of a pullback and things aren't as great. And that's just a natural part of running a business. Obviously, we want to aim to smooth out those peaks and troughs as much as we can, so they feel more like a gentle curve or a gentle bump in the road. But the reality is that things are going to happen that are out of your control that affect the financial state of your business. And what we want to help you try and do today is remove your emotional connection to that so that you don't feel great when your business finances are great and then feel terrible when your business finances are terrible. We almost want to completely detach your emotional state from the financial state of your business so that you can look at things for what they are, make clearer decisions, and focus on the bigger picture. Because if you're always tied into where your business is at right now, you're only ever going to make short-term decisions, especially around finance, and you're never really going to make great decisions in that state. It means that when your business is struggling a bit, you're going to make decisions from a scarcity mindset. And then when things are going better, you might make decisions that actually, although things are going well at the moment, you probably shouldn't be making because you're just assuming there's going to be all this abundance all the time. And you might find yourself committing to financial decisions based on things being great in that moment and not realizing that it might not stay that way over the next 12 months and things can change. So we want to try and remove that connection emotionally from finance as much as we can and make things a lot more stable in terms of how you feel about your business finances. And from that position, we can then focus solely on running a great business that will grow naturally, and you can be a bit more proactive in how you want to grow it because you're not stuck in the weeds regarding where the finance is at right here and now. So let's start unpacking this and let's start making sense of how we do this using this one simple approach. Now, believe it or not, despite this being quite a complex problem in terms of it involving emotions and things like that, the solution that I found is actually very, very simple. And it might not be something that you can do immediately today, but in understanding what the solution is, it will give you a clear target to work towards. It will give you something to aim for on the financial side of your business and personal side of things as well. And then it'll give you something that creates that stability we've spoken about. And then over time, you can focus on how you alter that thing as you grow and as your lifestyle changes and as you want more from life. The solution is this. You need to commit to paying yourself a set amount of money each month that becomes your wage. And in doing that, you are going to choose a date on which you get paid every month. You're going to set that up as an automated payment, and you are going to make sure that that payment remains stable. Now, if you're in a position where you're currently just starting your business or building it up and you may be not quite at that level yet, the first job for you is to come up with a number that you can work towards that your business would then be able to afford to pay you. So initially, It might be that you're only paying yourself something like £1,000 a month, and that's the goal that you're working towards. My business is generating 1,500 to £2,000 a month, but I'm going to set myself £1,000 as my wage so that my business can cover tax and other expenses, and I'm going to set myself £1,000 as the target. You want to choose a number that your business can comfortably afford, because what we're going to try and do here is we're going to try and allow for these peaks and troughs that come along the way. And we want to make sure that regardless of where the business is at in that particular month, your wage always remains the same. Because if you're constantly dipping in and out of your business to get more money or use less money or whatever it is that month, if you don't really know how much money you're using from your business each month on a personal level, that's when the business finances affect you on a personal level. Because if you earned £4,000 last month in your business and you've somehow managed to empty the bank account that month because you've spent more in your personal life, that's when you start to panic when a client leaves and now you're only earning £3,500 next month. And you start to think, well, how am I going to make up for that £500 because I spent that last month and I must have used it on something? So by setting yourself a target that's lower than what you can afford, you're going to allow yourself some leeway in terms of ups and downs in the business, which means that if you lose a client this month, of course, that's not a good thing. We want to avoid that and we want the business to be growing. But on a personal level, you'll know that you can still pay your bills, you can still feed your kids, you can still go out on your trips and stuff like that if you're not at this level yet. Or if you are at a level where your business is earning 4, 5, 6 grand a month, it gives you something to go away and set now as a little task for yourself so that you can say, right, my business earns this much, but I'm going to commit to paying myself this much so that as things go up and down, I always get paid the same. The way I want you to start thinking about this is, although we want to be aware of what the business is doing on a month-to-month basis, and we should be aware of those numbers, really we should be making decisions based on longer stretches of time. So what we should be really thinking about is, what will the business generate this year, and have an idea of what that figure looks like. And then based on that, what could I afford to pay myself? The monthly amounts might go up and down at certain times, but you should be able to get a better idea of the consistent amount of money you can pay yourself based on what the business does over a year. So if you know that your business turns over 48 grand a year, despite there being ups and downs along the way, you can make a fairly safe judgment that on average, it's 4 grand a month. So then you might set yourself 2 grand, 2.5 grand as the monthly wage you're going to pay yourself out of that 4 grand. What that means is, if the business drops down to 3 grand one month, you can still pay yourself. There'll still be the money there. If it goes to 4.5, 5 grand, you're still going to pay yourself the same, regardless. You're not suddenly going to become a baller for that month just because your business did well. We need to keep it there. So this is something that's very, very simple. It's not always the easiest thing to work out. This is why we take time doing this with people that we coach within our business coaching programs. We spend time working these things out, figuring out what those numbers will be for people. But I cannot stress enough how important it is to start to realize that the money that comes into the business is your business's money. Even if you're a sole trader and you're self-employed and it's money that gets paid direct to you, it's not your money. You need to really adopt that mindset earlier on. I actually think that for a lot of people, they would probably find it easier to run their business if they were running it as a limited company, because it'd be much easier for them to make that distinction between business money and my money. But it doesn't make sense for most people to do that early on in the career. It's actually much simpler for them to do as a sole trader. But you need to adopt that mindset early on of being a business owner. This is my business's finances. These are my finances. And if we can get the business paying you a set amount, it's then much easier for you to know what you can afford on a personal level every month, what you can commit to, what you can't commit to. And it allows you to make financial decisions much easier. And it allows you to detach from the ups and downs of your business. If I was to lose 1 or 2 clients this month, I would obviously be gutted, because on some level, you always take it personal. We always feel like there's more we could have done. But on a financial level, it wouldn't affect me at all because my business will still pay me the same wage, and it'll pay me the same wage the month after. Similarly, if I sign up 2 clients this month and my business suddenly earns an extra £500, £1,000, whatever it is, I don't get too caught up in suddenly feeling like I'm conquering the world and going out and splashing the cash, because I won't see the benefit of that. I'll still get paid exactly the same. It's just that the money that's in the business account will have gone up by more than usual. And what that would then allow you to do is, as you get towards the end of the year, as you start to set new goals for the year, you can then start to set yourself targets in terms of what's the wage rise I want to give myself. Do you want to pay yourself 10% more next year? If that's the case, what would the business have to be bringing in order for you to do that? Would the business need to earn an extra £700 to £1,000 if you want an extra £500 wage rise? Because obviously your tax is going to go up if you're earning more. So you can work those things out ahead of time, but then you can work those things out and operate towards those goals on a much more stable level because you're not worried about the individual fluctuations every month. I can know now what I want my wage to be next year, but not get stuck in the weeds about where I am this month. It all then boils down to the actions and the behaviors required to reach those goals. I don't have to panic if I suddenly take a bit of a hit this month because my pay will stay the same. Whereas if you're constantly chasing your tail because your pay goes up and down, that's where things get messed up pretty quickly. Okay. Even if your business is doing well, even if you're pulling in 4, 5, 6 grand a month, I've seen this time and time again. There are people earning over 5 grand a month that financially are all over the place. And it's because they are constantly dipping in and out of their business finances to fund short-term personal finance decisions. They want to take a last-minute trip to somewhere in Europe. They want to suddenly put a deposit down on a car and commit to a lease payment every month. They want to suddenly buy this extravagant thing and, the money's there to cover it. So surely I can afford it. And I want you to be able to do all of those things. I want all those things for you, but I want you to be able to make those decisions from a place of truly understanding that you can make that decision knowing that it won't affect you on an emotional level. It won't affect you when business takes a hit. It won't affect you when business suddenly flows to you more easily. So what I'm trying to do here today is give everyone a little bit of an operating system to just calm everyone down a bit when it comes to money. And as I mentioned, it's something that's always on the table as an ongoing thing that we help people with. It is something that's come up a little bit more in these recent weeks and months. And that's usually because this time of year, as we've talked about before, can be a bit of a strange time of year when it comes to PT and fitness. People are away on holiday. People are prioritizing other things. It's school holidays. So people don't always engage in fitness as much as they normally would. Even if you've got really good clients, they might take 4 weeks off and go away for the summer and they're not paying you. And you've suddenly got to absorb that hit. But you knew they were going to do that because they do that every year. So you can't really blame them for it. It's actually your fault for not planning for it. So we need to start planning better for these things. We know that these times of years crop up every year. And we know that that's then usually followed by a bit of a busier period in September. But rather than acting now from a place of scarcity and then acting like a baller in September when everyone comes back, what about if you just had this really level-headed, stable approach to that whole time period that allowed you to make moves that affected your business on a much bigger level? That's what I'm hoping to provide everyone with today, just with that simple solution that we can get in there. And again, I want you to start thinking about this for yourself, because I know a lot of you out there that are listening have got commitments, you've got families, you've got partners, you've got houses, or you've got aspirations for those things. And it just really helps if you can have this level-headedness around finance just by setting this thing in place. So to tie all this up, fairly short and sharp today, because I want you to really commit to getting this thing done. Regardless of what your position is right now financially within your business, I want you to make a commitment to yourself of either what your target is going to be as a wage that you can pay yourself every month, and then you can start working towards that now. Or if you're in the fortunate position where your business is already doing well, I want you to go away and figure out a number that you're going to commit to paying yourself every month that your business can easily afford, that allows you to fund the lifestyle you want to live, but that doesn't constantly challenge your business's finances. So it's not that you're going to be paying yourself $4,500 if you earn $5,000, because that just won't work. There's no room there for expenses and tax and stuff. But you want to pay yourself an amount that is well within your business's affordability, that covers all your basics and a bit more, and allows you to truly understand what you can and can't commit to on a financial level. Then your goal long-term is to push yourself and your business in terms of what you want to be paying yourself. Because otherwise, you just end up in a situation where, regardless of what level of income you're at, you always feel like you've not got enough if you've not got these things in place. If you're earning $6,000 a month and you feel like you've got no money, then guess what? When you get to $10,000 a month, you're still going to feel like you've got no money, because what you're lacking is the underlying structures and systems and behaviors required to operate financially in a way that makes sense. We know this from fitness and other things. The abundance of things doesn't help. If we've got an abundance of food, we don't do well with that unless we've got underlying behaviors and habits and understandings around what to do with that abundance of food. That's what we help people do. And we're trying to do this now for ourselves if we're to create an abundance of finance within our business. So I want you to really go away today and think about this. I want you to reach out and ask me any questions that you've got on this, because I think this is something that isn't spoken about enough in our industry, or any industry really that's sort of underpinned by small business owners. It's not something that gets enough coverage. People have got head in the clouds. There's all these big numbers that you see all the time. I help businesses earn 20 grand a month. I help businesses earn 50 grand a month and all this lot. People get stuck focusing on trying to earn that sort of money. And what they don't realize is that you'll never get anywhere near that if you're not looking after the money you've already got. Like, if you can't look after 2 grand a month, good luck getting to 20. Like, that's just the reality. So let's look after what you're already earning. Let's make sure that we're structuring it in a way that allows you to stay emotionally stable. And then we can talk about some bigger numbers and how to get there. Any questions? Anything that needs clarifying? You know where to find me. Head over to Instagram at Matt Robinson PT and you will find me there. Until next time, have a great one. Take care. We'll see you soon.